Hey there, this is Anonymous T. Welcome to my backup channel, Anonymous T Podcast. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are talking Fat Joe trying to crown the next Michael Jackson via Chris Brown, and we're going to listen to the clip because I'm already agitated, you guys.
Yo, let me tell you something. I got to get to this Chris Brown show. If Chris Brown never got into the controversy with Rihanna, we would be calling him Michael Jackson right now. Not like Michael Jackson, Michael Jackson. He is the most talented singer, artist, performer, hit maker of our time. There's nobody even close to Chris Brown. And it's time we move past it. It's been 20-something years that I know of. There's no more incidents. Man, we gonna let this lifetime go by without saying the truth? And so what happens is, when the truth...
Okay, that kind of is the end of the clip. That was from the Neighborhood Talk, who had the original clip about Fat Joe talking completely and utterly foolishness. Let's talk about it. Let's react to it, because here's the thing. First and foremost, can people fact check their information before they just start spewing nonsense? Number one, the Rihanna incident was in 2009, which last I checked with my math, wouldn't that be 15 years ago, you guys? So it was not 20 years ago, number one. Also, number two, saying that there hasn't been any incidents is also a lie. Number one, he had an incident at Good Morning America, which I believe he's banned from, because he got upset with Robin Roberts because he didn't like the line of questions that were going to be asked for the interview. So he threw a chair through the glass window in New York, in Manhattan, you guys. Had a temper tantrum. There have been cases where he allegedly threw a phone at somebody. There have been cases, other types of ASSAULT cases that have taken place. Also, his ex-girlfriend, Kariuchi, had a 5-year restraining order against Chris Brown. Also, as of a couple of years ago, remember the surprise birthday party, the roller rink party that Usher put on for Chris Brown in Las Vegas? There was a fight that took place that involved Chris Brown because he was upset. Some people are speculating that he was upset that allegedly Tiana Taylor didn't invite his ex-girlfriend Kariuchi because their restraining order had expired or whatever, or he's still trying to get with her on the low or something weird, I don't know. And so basically, nonetheless, that is a lie that there hasn't been any incident since. But nonetheless, I'm over, this foolery of trying to crown somebody the next Michael Jackson. Nobody in the white community is trying to crown the next Elvis Presley or the next Elton John or the next Celine Dion or the next, whomever, right? Whomever, they're white legends, right? Only in the black community do you guys do this, and I don't understand why. It's like you guys cannot accept people's art for what it is. You have to compare them to somebody else, and then you piss off people because you try to elevate them to a level that is unrealistic. You guys did the same thing, just like Jay-Z calls Beyonce the Michael Jackson of our time, the Michael Jackson of our generation, and it's like, no. Michael Jackson was the entire package, you guys, and more. There is no artist today that ever has had at any of their concerts people fainting before the show even came out, just at the presence of Michael Jackson. Falling out, needing ambulance to take them to the hospital because they can't even control themselves because of the impact of a Michael Jackson. So Chris Brown, no, does not have that impact. Number two, to completely dismiss Usher, who has, last I checked, a diamond album. Something that Chris Brown doesn't have. A diamond album indicating that so many people were impressed with your album that pretty much it was an album with 0 skips. How many albums does Chris Brown have that has 0 skips, you guys? You need to have the appropriate criteria when you're trying to name somebody a GOAT. There are several people who are great performers, all of that. There are some great people who have great singing voices and all these things, but to just completely just elevate them and equate them to Michael Jackson is completely and utterly insane, you guys. And nobody has matched Michael Jackson in his level of philanthropy and being charismatic, his interviews, he's engaging, he's a songwriter, he's a producer, he's had other artists, him going through the behind the scenes of how he has, made some of his biggest hits and all of the things. Also was successful both in a group as well as a solo artist, as well as an actor, producer. He has had so many hats that he has worn, you guys, that goes beyond just music. So it is an insult to equate Chris Brown in any capacity to Michael Jackson. You want to say he's a great performer, fine. You want to say he has a decent amount of hits, fine. But even like Usher says on his song, I Am the Party, for people that are asking for him to do verses with him, please stop. That was a direct shot at Chris Brown saying, you don't have my catalog. I understand some of you guys are young. I understand some of you guys are too young to know when Usher was the main R&B guy of the era and was getting #1 hits after #1 hits, was the talk of the town because he was a hit pre-social media. When people were still buying albums, when people were still listening to music, when people were actually working with reputable writers and producers and not just putting out trash right now for a quick hit, for a quick #1, and then the rest of their music is trash. So I get it. I get it that you're caught up in the hype. You're caught up in the fact that Chris Brown currently is on tour and you're getting geeked at seeing some of your favorite songs being performed and how Chris Brown moves and all of the things. I get it. But to put him on the level of Michael Jackson, first of all, we need to even see if he's on the level of Bobby Brown, right? And here's the thing. Again, some of you are young. But there's a reason that Whitney Houston called Bobby Brown the king of R&B, because literally one album that went, 12 times platinum. It was like a full album of 0 skips. But bigger than that was Bobby Brown as a performer. Before, the weight gain, the strokes, the other extracurriculars that were taking place, he was on fire as a musician, you guys. If you look up his performances at the American Music Awards, at the Soul Train Awards, where he was doing high energy choreography that I still have not seen matched to this day, not out of breath at all, live singing, you guys, no backtrack to the track that your current faves are doing right now, and was not out of breath. Was completely and utterly, the voice sounded good. He didn't sound winded or anything. He was outperforming his own backup dancers. His own backup dancers didn't even have, the correct choreography. They were a minute too slow, a few seconds too slow behind Bobby Brown, which should never happen. You guys should be in sync. That's the whole point of being a backup dancer. You're supposed to be backing up the artist and giving the same amount of energy as the artist. But Bobby Brown outdid all that, you guys. But to, again, stop these comparisons to Michael Jackson. It's an insult to Michael Jackson. It's an insult to his legacy. It's an insult to his contributions to music, philanthropy, and everything else that he has done, you guys. There is a reason that Michael Jackson is still selling at least 1 million records, you guys, in 2024. And the man died how many years ago? And how his own catalog is to the point that the family's fighting over it because Sony is getting a portion of it because it's worth billions of dollars. And Michael Jackson was one of the pioneers that fought so hard for not just himself, but also fought for other black artists to own their own masters. And how lucrative it was to own your own music. And, oh, by the way, Michael Jackson pissed off a lot of people because he owned the Beatles catalog. Another group that nobody is requesting to see the new Beatles in 2024. Again, We've got to stop it. If you like Chris Brown, fine. If you like Chris Brown's music, fine. If you want to see him in concert or you have seen him in concert before, fine. But stop trying to just crown people Michael Jackson. Now, if you want to have a separate conversation as to why Chris Brown is blackballed from everything, you need to ask your other fellow A-list rapper who allegedly is behind the blackballing. If we want to keep it a buck, if we want to keep it true, that is the reason your buddy Chris Brown is blackballed, right? Is because one of your friends has significant influence in the music industry and basically blackballed him. But it wasn't just because of the Rihanna incident. It was because somebody was threatened by him. Because he's best friends with Usher. And Chris Brown was a threat to that success, right? So if we're going to spill the tea, we need to stop inserting Rihanna's name in all of this. Because Rihanna has nothing to do with Chris Brown's current career. He made mistakes after Rihanna as well, you guys. But separate from that, there are the powers that be that have more power than you and me that wanted Chris Brown shut down. And wanted somebody else to be elevated or be, the R&B king or whatever, right? But just because Chris Brown puts out a lot of music and puts out a lot of albums and mixtapes and all the things doesn't mean everything is no skips. Doesn't mean every song on there is a hit. It just means that you have time on your hands to record a lot of music. And I'm not even talking about the other tomfoolery that he's done with like the robberies, the mysterious people in his entourage, and all of the crazy other side stories that have happened over the course of Chris Brown's career that you guys conveniently ignore and just like to throw Rihanna's name out there as a buzzword. Oh, because Rihanna is trending right now because she just dropped a new hair care line. So now you're going to get in the algorithm once again because you want to insert Rihanna's name when Rihanna has nothing to do with this. Rihanna already said years ago she forgave Chris Brown. She already said years ago she, wishes him the best and all the things. I think she even did a Fenty Beauty lip gloss promo ad playing a Chris Brown song. And I believe Chris Brown sent congrats Rihanna's way for her pregnancy and sent congrats her way for her performing at the Super Bowl. So this notion that this is a Rihanna situation, it's not. You need to ask the powers that be why they do not want Chris Brown to thrive. You need to ask the American Music Awards why they canceled his tribute performance to Michael Jackson. You need to ask these other award shows that have banned Chris Brown except for the BET Awards. That has zero to do with Rihanna, you guys. Rihanna hasn't even put out music since 2016. So again, she's not even in the music industry right now. And you guys are still trying to insert her into all of this other tomfoolery. And it's crazy to me. Fat Joe, nobody in your profession is requesting a new rapper to be the next Biggie or Tupac, you guys. Or whatever, right? But you guys always do this with the larger-than-life superstars because you think that there is no way that anybody else can achieve that type of pinnacle. It may be a little bit different. There may be some differences. There may be some nuances. But everybody should be considered one of one. And the thing of it is, there's a lot of Michael Jackson influences. If there was no Michael Jackson, there's no Usher, there's no Bobby Brown, there's no Chris Brown and others, right? Because Michael Jackson was the blueprint. But to compare people to Michael Jackson, to compare your faves to Michael Jackson, just because they're a decent performer, although their music catalog is kind of, not as strong as Michael Jackson's, let's keep it a buck. And you do this and you want to force upon people this comparison to Michael Jackson, and it's not fair. It's not right. And by the way, if we want to talk about, the criminal aspect of things, Michael Jackson actually was not guilty. And it was proven that his accusers were basically paid to say all these things because they wanted a money grab. And allegedly, the record labels were pissed at Michael Jackson for taking the Beatles catalog, for speaking out against the record label on how they take advantage of artists, because you're not supposed to do that in the music industry. Everything's supposed to be hush hush. Everything's a secret, right? So, nonetheless, Michael Jackson was trying to expose the industry just like Prince was trying to expose the industry. And look what happened. Both of them died way too prematurely, you guys, because they were trying to educate you on how this music industry moves and all the politics that are involved. But you guys are so caught up in trying to compare people to others that you're not looking at the bigger picture. Until you sit down, and I want you to listen to every single Michael Jackson album. I want you to watch every single Michael Jackson performance. I want you to listen to every single song that Michael Jackson has written and produced for other artists. All the artists who have sampled Michael Jackson or the Jackson 5 or what have you. All of the movies that Michael Jackson has been a part of or starred in or what have you. All of his music videos. All of his concerts that are on, that are available, where the people are fainting before he can even get on the stage, where some of the venues were completely overflown with people. People were packed in there like sardines, but they didn't care because it was Michael Jackson. And I want you to do the comparison. After you listen to all of Michael Jackson's music, after you watch all of Michael Jackson's performances, after you listen to all of Michael Jackson's interviews, after you listen to all the songs that he written and produced for other artists, and if you look into all of his philanthropy and all of these things, all of his movies, all of his acting, all of the things that he has done in his entire career from the beginning. And then I want you to sit down and do the exact same thing with Chris Brown. Listen to all of his albums all the way through, even the B-side tracks. Watch all of his performances all the way through, all the tours. Watch his interviews. See how his interviews go. Is he charismatic? Is he engaging? Is he entertaining? Is he somebody you want to interview again? Or does it depend on who the interviewer is or what the topic is? Depends on how Chris Brown's going to cooperate, right? And then I want you to review everything about his career, you guys. And I want you to come back to me and tell me that he is the next Michael Jackson, so I can tell you absolutely not. We've got to stop doing this, you guys, because it's embarrassing. It is absolutely embarrassing. There is room for everybody to be their own person in this entertainment, music industry, athlete, whatever the Black artist specialty is. But these comparisons, have got to stop, because what happened is when you guys did this with Beyonce, she's, interpreted this as, oh, I've got to go out and win every single award so that I can have more awards ever. I can be the most awarded Grammy winner. I have more Grammys than Michael Jackson and Prince and Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey and all these people, when I can argue that their discographies might be better than Beyonce's. So you have all of these achievements, but it doesn't make sense when you are talking about the caliber of a Michael Jackson and what his contribution to not just music, but to everything else that has done, right? And several doors that he has opened up, and being one of the first music videos to be played on some of these other stations that favored rock music and grunge music and alternative music and did not want to play music from Black artists. So please miss me with this notion that, Chris Brown is the next Michael Jackson. Now, Michael Jackson gave him his props and felt that he was a really good performer and had a lot of talent and all the things and wanted to see him thrive. Chris Brown could have been an A-lister, but it's not the Rihanna incident alone as to why he is the way he is. He has had several incidents since then that you guys conveniently like to leave out because it's going to diminish, this fantasy that you have of Chris Brown. He's flawed. There's no such thing as perfection, but let's not act like Chris Brown is the only legal issue and the only incident that's taken place that has, been a detriment to Chris Brown's career. But I'm going to need you guys to keep the same energy. I'm going to need you guys to get it together. Yes, Chris Brown is talented. Yes, Chris Brown has some hits. Yes, Chris Brown is a good performer. But stop comparing him to Michael Jackson, you guys. Because it's not it. It's not it. It's embarrassing. It's an insult to Michael Jackson and his legacy. You've got to do better. But like I said, Fat Joe, if you want the answers as to why Chris Brown is blackballed in 2024, you need to ask your fellow A-list rapper allegedly why. Because it's beyond the Rihanna situation. We're beyond that. He just flat out doesn't want Chris Brown to thrive. So you need to ask your fellow A-list rapper allegedly as to why he doesn't want Chris Brown to ever perform at the Super Bowl, and he's on the committee allegedly to select the artist for the Super Bowl, wants no parts of Chris Brown ever performing there. That's not our fault. Has nothing to do with us, has nothing to do with Rihanna. So there's that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.